those of you who are watching on replay, what we're talking about, that we're going to be talking about social media, whether or not it's time to step away, whether or not it's time to quit, whether or not you should just hang it all up, that you need to step away because of TikTok almost being banned, because of Facebook failing, LinkedIn failing, all the question marks. And I want to make sure that we as creatives are on the right side of this. So if you're new to God and Gigs, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the host and founder of God and Gigs. Today I'm coming from a new location. If you don't recognize me around here or recognize my surroundings, I'm actually here in Virginia with my friend LaShonda Brown of Bootstrap Business Advice. We're going to be doing some cool things for a new app that she's going to be releasing. I'm working with her. She's an amazing YouTube Canva coach. Pretty much anything tech and bootstrapping your company or your business as a small business owner or as a content creator. She's been on the show. She's a friend of God and Gigs. And so she has been such a hospitable guest, host for us and guesting us. So I'm actually hanging out here. And yeah, you can see everything around behind. So I just wanted to make sure I was close to the Wi-Fi and try to get everything working. So if you want to join in the conversation, you can always chat. I'm not going to be, well, I can still bring stuff up. It's a little bit different setup. I'm like jury rigging everything today and trying to make sure we can still stick with our schedule. So we're coming at 3 versus 1 o'clock that we usually do. But I wanted to definitely just get over and share with you and ask you whether or not you feel it's time to step away from social media, whether or not you're tired of it, you're tired of all the posting, you're tired of all the issues, whether or not you should be on this platform or that platform, especially as a kingdom creative. If this scared you when Facebook went down, if you were nervous because Instagram was not available, and you were feeling like your entire career hangs on the thread of a social media platform, and you don't want that to happen anymore. So that's what we're going to talk about today, but share a little bit of my thoughts on that, but most importantly, share your thoughts and whether or not you feel this is good. So like I said, I'm going to turn around a little bit once in a while to make sure everything is working. Unfortunately, we were supposed to go live from Instagram, but we lost that. And if you're sharing right now, let's see, let me see, I get that going. There we go. So if you're sharing right now, good, we got some people coming in. If you see your comment pop up and you don't see your name, that's probably because you're in the Facebook group. You need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and then give it permission to share your name, and then you can do that. Okay. So if you're right now seeing that, hey, I'd love for you to like actually be able to comment and see what I'm saying, then you need to go ahead and give StreamYard permission to share that. But or you can just put your name in the comment and then I'll know it's you. But if we get multiple people from Facebook user, I won't know which one is Facebook user. So you'd have to say your name over and over again. You probably don't want to do that. So let's get into this quickly. The issue I see that we are dealing with, whether it's TikTok, now in the House of Representatives, you know, I'm not into politics, not trying to deal with politics, but there seems to be more and more push toward TikTok being seriously restricted in a lot of different states. So if you are a creative is a musician or an artist or a content creator who's on TikTok, the very existence of your business is being threatened if you have a major audience there. Facebook and Instagram also went down this week. And then LinkedIn, which is slightly less affecting of content creators, but you know, if you have a presence on LinkedIn, it was just another sign that things are tenuous when you're depending on other people's platforms. And here's the issue that I want to make sure we address today. As a kingdom-minded creative, you're called to be an owner, not a borrower. But everybody on a social media platform is essentially borrowing space for attention in exchange for their content to keep these platforms alive. And I know I don't want all the conversations to be about social media. I get tired of it myself. I feel like sometimes that even to those of you who are watching and listening on replay, you're not interested in that because you're really not into social media anyway. So you're saying, okay, what does this have to do with me? This is what it has to do with you. Are you an owner or are you a borrower? Are you borrowing connection with your audience and with your community, or do you own it? Do you own the connection? And I know this could be a discussion on whether you have an email list. We could go there, but I'm not going to deal just with email, just whether you should have a social media platform or not. What I really want to get to is always the mentality behind your method. What is the mentality behind the way you connect with the people that you're called to serve as a creator? What is the mentality behind why you serve, where you serve? If you are not serving a certain segment of your population or the people that follow you because they're on a social media platform that you don't prefer, is that a good decision? Or should you show up even if you don't like to be there, even if they do things that you don't kind of agree with, but that's where your people are and that's where you have to show up, even if you're not a social media person, should you be there? Or should you throw the whole thing away, say, you know what, I don't need to be on these platforms anymore. I don't like the way they run things. They don't represent me, and they could crash at any time and I lose everything. So these are the conversations we want to check out. Let me check and see if there's guys comments. So yeah, you guys, if you want to let me know that you're on there, go ahead and share this with some people. Let them know that we're going live and that we're going to be talking about this. So number one, let's talk about the easiest discussion to have, which is these things that can fail at any time. And if your connection is only with your audience, only with your community on one of these social media platforms. So I did not even notice that Facebook went down, to be honest with you. I did notice, I think Instagram was like hanging up. But to be honest with you, I was at the time, I found out through Twitter, which is hilarious. I found out from another platform that another thing was down, and there were all the jokes started about, which platform and Elon Musk was going to make fun of or whatever, which he did, of course, because he's that kind of guy. The question is, how did it affect you? Did you freak out when you saw Facebook and Instagram were down? Did you have a nervous reaction to, oh boy, how am I going to connect with my audience? How am I going to send out my next song? How am I going to let them know about my gig? If you had that reaction, it shows that you're borrowing the attention and that you don't have ownership. And that's a very scary place to be. So what we want to do is talk about how did that even develop? How do we even get to the point where we rely on certain platforms to control everything? I don't know if that's I know it's a recent thing, but it might have been the record companies back in the day. So it might not have been social media, but it might have been the record companies and the agents that owned that connection. So who owns the connection with your audience? If you are relying on Facebook and YouTube and so on, I'm coming to you from those very same platforms right now. If that's all you have, then you are at the mercy of someone who owns the connection, doesn't own you and doesn't own your community, but owns the connection point between it. You can give it the example of perhaps, let's say, maybe I could think of a railroad where there's a train going on the tracks delivering something. The roads won't be a little bit different because no one really owns, the government owns the highway system, but the railroads might be the different story. I'm not sure how that works, but it's the best analogy I can come up with right now. But the train cannot get to the destination without the tracks. And whoever controls the tracks, whoever has access and has the ability to say, hey, the tracks are running or the trains are running because the tracks are available, is in control of the connection. If the tracks are not there, train doesn't matter how fast your train is. It doesn't matter how pretty the store is. It doesn't matter where they're, what the payload is. If the tracks are not, or if someone says, hey, tracks are not running, nothing's getting through. It's the same thing with your connection. Who owns those train tracks is in control of your business and your creative life. Because, of course, without people listening and watching, you have no ability to share what you have to share. So what I've done personally is I've made this decision, and we're talking about this even at this meetup that we're doing with my new friend Lex. We were talking about that, about social media and why things shut down or whatever. And she reminded me of this, which was good because I forgot about this. Let's see. Oh, I go here the comments. Cool. Always doing trying to see the comments because the TV's behind me, because the monitor's behind me. So the thought process was, what parts of technology actually allow me to have a better connection and a human connection with the people that I serve? Because here's the thing, if a certain kind of technology, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever, does not help me connect with a real human being, why am I on it? If you don't find yourself getting more connected with the people that are real versus just algorithms or whatever, because of the result of being on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, then why are you even there? My personal, forgive me if I'm getting personal about this, but my personal mandate to myself has been and will be now, um, if it doesn't allow me to have a personal human connection, I'm not going to stay on that platform. If it leads to more personal human connections, I will use it. If it doesn't, I will leave it. Now, here's the thing: the other options outside of social media, email, may not necessarily lead to a personal connection in terms of seeing that person, but it certainly leads to more ability for me to connect with them directly through responses that are actually from them and not controlled by algorithm. If I have a physical address, I can mail them and they can mail me back. If I have a phone number, I can talk to them directly and they can talk to me back. And so these forms of technology allow me to have the ownership of the connection and the ability to connect with a real person at some point way deeper than most times a DM or a Facebook message will be able to do. And that's what we're talking about. Do Facebook and YouTube and all these other things allow me to connect with you directly? Sure. But there is a deeper level that's available if I allow these other things to be alongside that and not controlled by a certain platform. So what we want to do is we want to own that connection as much as possible, and we want it to lead to real connections of people that actually care about you and what you share. That's the goal of what should be the goal of social media, and that should be the goal of what you're doing with your creative life, to try to make this as closely to a personal connection as possible and not allow anything to get in the way of that. That's the goal. So what we want to do is, one, obviously, we want to consider whether or not Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and these other platforms are helping you make that human connection. Are your people even there? Does it even make sense for you to spend time? Now, here's something I'd love to talk about real quick that might help you with that. A lot of people don't like certain media, social media channels, because they feel like they got to be there all the time. And they share so much information, they share so much time that it wastes time, and you don't actually spend time being creative. To help you with that, one of the things that would help is that if you had a template to keep you online and keep you focused, so that you share what you need to share, you move on, and then you don't spend all your life on those platforms. It would help, right? So what we're trying to do in our creative community is provide more of those kind of templates that will help you. So what I've done now is we've created what's called the Inspired Creators Corner. It's part of our God and Gigs 360 section of our community, which is the membership where people invest in themselves and pay a subscription to get monthly coaching if you're in the Gold program, or this other section that we're just talking about right now. Thank you for that thumbs up, by the way. I didn't even know that popped up. See, I didn't know that popped up. Thank you for that. I didn't know that worked. Wow, that was cool. So I didn't know what that was for a second. Got distracted. So the Inspired Creators Corner is going to be where you can now, at a lower cost than the coaching, get those monthly templates that will help you with things like, what do I post on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, so on. Now, there are two ways we can do this that will help you. One is give you templates that you can use in a particular AI program, because many of these AIs programs, I use Capshow right now. I also use Cast Magic. And even if you're not a podcaster, but you need captions, some people use ChatGPT and so on. Whether or not you use these things is not the issue. The issue is whether or not you can quickly format them and take what the AI gives you and then put it into a program like a Meet Edgar, which I also use, and quickly create a carousel of posts that will always come up and that will let you make a human connection because it's in your voice and not the voice of somebody else that some computer algorithm created or AI created. So what we're going to be doing is creating templates for you so that you have, hey, here are the 5 best YouTube captions that we've used for our shorts. Here are the 5 best Twitter type applications or captions that we've used. And here's how you can change it for your creative life. Musicians use it like this. Artists use it like this. Poets could say it like this. Filmographers could say it like this. So we could come up with all these different templates that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that's the Inspired Creators Corner. That's going to be at godandgigs.com/inspired. Okay, we'll put that link in this description once this live is over. So if you're watching this on replay, you can go right there to godandgigs.com/inspired. It's only $10 a month. This is something that's already has templates and some of our trainings in there. This is not the live coaching. This is just for those people who want to save time and get something that will quickly help them to solve one particular problem in their creative life. And that's the problem we're solving today, is what to do with social media. Now let's move on a little bit from social media though, and talk about the ownership of the connection outside of social media. Because as we saw when Facebook crashed, I wrote about this back in 2019. The email I just sent out in the Creative Checkup newsletter actually has a link to that post. I might put it here. I can't type it while I'm using my phone as my camera here. But what you can do is go to godandgigs.com/info, and you'll see that posted up. You'll see that I put the post inside the email, so you can get the link to that and read what I wrote about Facebook last time they failed 5 years ago, and all of these different tools that I explain about that will help you keep your connection outside of social media. But let's talk about that a little bit. Do you already know how to reach your community if you didn't have Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube? Now, if you can't answer that question, that's already an issue. Now, some people will immediately go, and I'm trying not to focus on email, but it's hard not to. Email is the number one way that you really can connect with your audience outside of these social media connections. And the reason that is so important is something I just talked about in this email, which is protocols over platforms. And let me explain protocols over platforms. Protocols are methods or ways that we connect with each other. Email is a protocol. Internet, the web, what some people call Web 2. I know it's going to get a little deeper and a little nerdy, but stay with me. Web 2 is a protocol. HTTP, hypertext protocol, right? That's a way of computers talking to each other. RSS, really simple syndication. Podcast is a protocol. I own that. I own my podcast feed. I own my website, www.godandgigs.com. It is an asset. I can actually say it's mine. And then if someone else wants to access it, I give it to them and they can find me anytime. A phone number is a protocol. It's 7 numbers, 10 numbers that will get me through this exchange, and I can reach somebody. And as far as I know, it is free to everybody, even if you aren't a member of some, whatever, AT&T, it used to be a monopoly, right? But now if you have a phone number, I can be reached. Same thing with obviously text, address, all these other things. These are protocols. These are ways that we connect that are not owned by anybody. It's simply mine. I own it. If you want to reach me, you reach me here, 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 or here. The difference between a protocol and a platform is a platform determines how you reach that person. Protocols are simply ways that we agree that we're going to talk to each other. So I would agree with anyone that says, hey, I need to be on Facebook, LinkedIn, I need to be there, cool. But remember, a protocol allows you to keep that connection and own it versus waiting for a platform that allows you to see what they want you to see. And so I'm always going to espouse that you focus more on protocols versus platforms as a creative. Do you own your email address or email list? Do you own your website address? Do you own a list of addresses or phone numbers or any other way with their customers and the people that follow you that they can connect with you directly, and they know that even if everything breaks down, you could still be reached and you can reach them? Because whoever owns that is actually the controller of your creative business. Whoever owns that connection is actually the person that controls it. If you do not own it, you are not in control. And again, we're going back to that first scripture. You are called to be a owner, a lender, not a borrower. So you're actually lending your credibility to every social media platform that you're on. You're lending your credibility to every single group that you talk to in social media. You're lending them your reputation. You're lending them that, okay? But then you're borrowing back the audience. Why? If you can own it. So here's the thing I'm again going to remind you of. Building your email list. I always submit that ConvertKit has been the best for me. You can check that out at godandgigs.com/ConvertKit. Actually, go to godandgigs.com/grow-my-list, as you can sign up for a cool workshop that they help you to find your first 1,000 subscribers. godandgigs.com/grow-my-list. Okay, but if you are not going to use email and you're not going to use social media, is it still possible? Yes, the old-fashioned way. Back in the days when we used to have a clipboard and we pass out that clipboard, people would write down their address, or if you have a customer that bought something from you and you ask for their just like they do at a register, right? They ask for your ad, they ask for your phone number, and they were like, why? But as a business owner, I get it, because if Facebook falls down, if I lose everything else, I could still call you, I could still text you, I could still let you know that I'm still in business. COVID taught us this, right? When COVID came and we couldn't have face-to-face connection, everything became text, digital, and they had to keep that connection that way because in person was taken away. So again, if you have to break it down to just, hey, do you have a list of people that you could say, hey, I could mail you something, I could send you a gift, I could send this to you because you own that connection? If not, you got to think about how can I make that something that's part of my creative business so I'm never at the mercy of a social media platform. So I wanted to finish this. If we're going to continue, we're going to, finish it about that and we're going about 25 minutes. I don't know, about something like that. And so we're going to talk a little bit lastly about this Inspired Creatives Corner that I just discussed with you and some of my friends that are sharing some things. Like I said, I want to thank my friend. See, we have some people here right now, so I'm gonna keep moving. I didn't think about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue this discussion about why it's important for you to have these templates, these things that will save you time, save you money as well, so that you don't have to worry about, well, what do I post? When do I post it? How do I post it? When do I share it? I don't know if you are someone that has used templates in the past, if you've thought about, hey, do I need like an AI thing that will do all this for me? Maybe you never had that before. But I have used some tools that have helped me save a ton of time. And so what I'm going to suggest to you, number one, are some of these tools that I've used. So I'm going to walk around here, so I don't know the lighting is going to be as good, but we'll keep it going. So if you have joined any of these AI tools, ChatGPT, as I mentioned, we're going to have on the show very soon the CEO of CapShow, which is a tool that I'm using. You can check all these out and see if they help you. And the big one that I have all of these on my website at godandgeeks.com/toolkit. You can check all these out. And they save a ton of time. But what I'm doing with the Inspire Creators Corner is I'm really working on trying to make sure that you can use these tools effectively to solve a specific problem. So each time that you get into the Inspire Creators Corner, each month, I'm going to ask you, which problem do you want me to solve? Which problem is the one that you feel is keeping you from doing what God has called you to do? If you have not really thought about this, then this is the time, because you know what? The Inspired Creators Corner has not quite been, haven't added any new things. I've added all the old things, but I haven't added any new things yet. So I'm really waiting for you to tell me what should be the first template that I add to this particular thing. What's the first thing I should add? Is it a social media template? Is it an AI template? Is it how I've been able to use a tool like Facebook Business Suite, which a lot of people don't know about, but Facebook Business Suite, again, going back to the social media thing, has saved me a ton of time in terms of getting into a bunch of different platforms at the same time. Would something on time management be helpful for you in terms of how do you balance the things between creation, production, what I call the 5 steps, so the 5 points of a creative life? You have the planning and the preparation, then you have the creation, then you have the production, then you have the distribution, and last you have the conversation and the evaluation. Okay, so that all goes together. So if you are considering, wait, how do you do that again? How do you keep your life from feeling like it's going all over the place? Well, in that case, you might want a template on how do you put together the 5 steps of a creative life, from planning and preparation to creation, to production, to distribution, and what tools do you use to keep that straight? Now, again, the Inspired Creators Corner is not going to be where you get the live coaching. This is kind of like an example of that where I'm sharing directly. So you won't get the live coaching that the gold members get, and that you may not need it. You may just want, hey, I just want these worksheets, I want these templates, and I want to get moving. But all the worksheets and the what's the word I'm looking for? All the worksheets and I can't think of the word, the workshops. I can't think of the word. All the worksheets and the workshops that are available are also there inside the Inspired Creators Corner. So you can always get them there. Okay. Now, unfortunately, I had to get away from the computer a little bit, so I can't see if there's any more comments. But if there are, please leave them as well in the comments of this particular live stream, of this particular replay, and I can get to them, especially if you already know what you'd like to see in terms of something that would solve a problem for you if you had the template for it right now in your creative life. Would it be time management? Would it be even in spiritual? How do you put together your prayers? How do you put together a plan to make sure that you're praying, which we do have in our godandgigs.com/prayer, a 7-day devotional. We have that as well. So any of these resources that you're saying, hey, I wish I had X, put that in the comments of this particular live stream, because that way we can go back and say, hey, it's ready for you. Go to godandgigs.com/inspired, and you can go ahead and put that together, okay? Or we'll put it there so that you can have it and you never have to go searching for it anymore. It will be right there. And again, that subscription is only $10 a month. We're trying to keep it very simple and very easy to afford for everybody so that you can be a part of that and get the resources you need each month to continue to thrive as a creative in your everyday life. Well, my friends, that's 3:30. We just went about 30 minutes right there. So I'm going to go ahead and close it off again. I apologize for anybody who, number one, the time was different because we moved the time over. As you can see, I'm hanging out here with my friend LaShonda and Lex, who just arrived. I probably should have put them on camera, but I didn't do that to them. But they have already done some amazing stuff themselves. Go check out Bootstrap Biz Advice on YouTube and everywhere else, on Instagram as well. And also Lex's company, which I believe is Low Energy Leads, but I'll make sure to put that link in the description as well so you can check them out. We're going to be doing this photo shoot tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just really celebrating everything LaShonda is doing and helping her to continue to help you as we work together as a creative community. So that has been the Creative Checkup for today. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you watched on replay, let me know. Hit replay or say replay in the comments so that I know you were watching. And then email me at alan@godandgigs.com. Let me know how this helped. If you now have some solutions to the thought process behind whether you should jump off of social media or not. Again, let's recap that. If it helps you own the connection to your audience, if it leads to people signing up for email lists, if it leads to people making connections, then yeah, maybe you should stay. If it is simply that something that you're letting people borrow your reputation and borrow what you know and borrow your retention, but not actually have something that leads to you owning that connection, then you probably need to step away from social media, because it is not a place that you just need to be, where someone can benefit from your expertise and your knowledge and your art without having you reap the benefits of that you're sowing into it. Okay. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm going to jump off, and I'd love to see some comments. For those of you who watch on replay, thank you so much for joining me. God bless. And until next time, continue to become the creative that you were created to be.